Alright, I'm going to start this video by saying this is going to be a little different. And it starts with a story which you may or may not want to listen to, but it is a story. So, about in 1985, 4, 5, maybe before that. Now, about 1984, 1985, my grandparents had two very large, let's see, how many were there? There was two very large trees in their yard. Those trees were, I believe they were maple. As a matter of fact, I know they were maple now that I think about it. They were maple trees, and those maple trees needed to be cut up.
Ugh.
So they had to be taken down, they had to be cut up. Now, I was not there for this. I was, what was I, 12? And wasn't really too close to my grandparents at that time because, well, reasons that I don't want to talk about. But I was just a kid. So they took these trees down and they laid in the yard for, I don't know, not really that long. And they needed to be cut up. So my grandfather went and he bought two things. He bought a log splitter and he bought a chainsaw. The chainsaw was over in the barn. Right, dear? Mm-hmm. And this spring, the chainsaw went missing. Just disappeared from its spot that it had rested in for the last 30 some odd years. It was in the barn for over, well, my grandfather died in 92, my uncle sold the cows in 93, and that chainsaw sat in that spot from 1993 till now. So what is that? 32 years. 32 years, right? Something like that, 32 years. So there it is. It disappeared. Well, today I was over there. I had to put a new check valve in the water line to the house that's down below. And I had bought it. Me and my wife went and bought it. Me and this person. I think Wedward was not with us, was he?
No. He was in school.
He was in school. So we bought the check valve. I put it in today, and I wanted to go and check out the barn because it sits alone. It's got some no trespassing signs on it, and I just wanted to make sure that things hadn't been, somebody's been busting holes in windows and things like that. So I went into the barn, and I was walking down in front of the mangers, where I never walk down in front of the mangers, and there was a piece of cardboard that was laying there, and I just so happened to kick it. And lo and behold, someone about a year ago or more had taken that chainsaw, carried it down to the doorway that's midway down the barn, laid it in front of the door, and put a piece of cardboard over it and some hay so you couldn't see it. I didn't get hurt when I kicked it. So I decided that I would get my grandfather's chainsaw and I would bring it to the farm, and we are going to do a will it start on my grandfather's chainsaw. Now, it has points, I'm sure, because it is from the 1980s, and I don't think they put magnetron in the Stihl chainsaws. Now, this is a notoriously terrible saw from Stihl, S-T-E-H-L. We call them Stihls. Some people call them Steels. I don't know the correct pronunciation, but it is an 031 AV. Anybody that's ever owned an 031 AV can tell you that it takes a can of starting fluid to get them to start.
Damn.
And, oh, they're terrible. And I've owned two other ones, and my mother told me, good, I'm glad you got your grandfather's chainsaw, because it would just get tossed into a dumpster because it is so old and you probably can't even get parts for it anymore. But I have owned two other ones. I made one out of another one. One was my ex-wife's grandfather's. The other one was Irving J. McConnell's down the road. And now this one, which I don't have parts for any of them. I threw the other two away just because they were horrible. They were just horrible. I winged them into the dumpster, so they're gone. But now I've got another one. So that is the beginning of this video. Okay, as I promised, this is the saw that I was talking about, so I'm going to go ahead and show you. It is a Stihl. I've been spraying it down with Freol. This is better than PB Blast, or way better than WD-40. But this model, probably if you look this model up on online anywhere, they're going to say that it's pretty crappy, because it is. It was just not a very good, in my experience with it. Now, I watch Richard Peak, or R Peak, on YouTube. If you don't know who he is, that's the guy that that's the fellow that I rescued out of that water back a couple, 3 years ago. And if you know, blood equals ratings, right? That's mine. I did something stupid and ended up, but anyway, so a few years ago, Richard was pulling his guts out on one of these, on a Stihl saw. I knew before I knew the model. I was like, that's an 031 AV. Those things, those saws, you need a can of starting fluid. No matter what, you just need a can of starting fluid. So anyways, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get you all set up here with this saw in view. Let me get you in the right spot. And I'm just going to talk as I start taking it apart. This is in no way, shape, or form a new type of video series. It's just something that I kicked the boys out, sent them home, and I'm going to work on this thing because I feel like it's something that I want to do. Now, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to find out that the hoses are completely shot. And I'll say that because, you know, that's usually what happens with these things. The hoses are probably going to be completely shot on it. And it's just, you know, that's just going to be where we end up starting out. But what I do notice with it, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna pull the bar off. And there's one thing I really absolutely annoys the crap out of me, and that's when somebody puts the bar on upside down. I am not obsessive compulsive, but I will say there is no reason for any human being to take the bar off and put it on upside down. It's stupid. It just, to me, it's stupid. Is it stupid? I don't, you know, to me, it just annoys the crap out of me. So, you know, and I'm generally not too anal about certain things, but for some reason, this just so happens to be one of the things that bugs the hell out of me when it comes to a chainsaw, and that is putting that bar on upside down. Should it matter? No. Does it matter? Not at all. But it does really kind of torque my bar when you come across that particular thing. When it comes to me, anyways. I mean, most people don't give a damn, or they wouldn't do it. But it's dirty, like you would expect inside there. These are wear parts. Oil goes in there, but these things generally will wear. And I don't see any wear. Now, my grandfather they did not burn firewood that I can ever remember. Yeah, see how hard that would have been? You could have just put the bar on right. Now, this bar does not have a bearing or a gear in the center of it. And you can see from the use of it, it's more rust. But usually on the ends, they will, especially the ones that don't have the chain, the sprocket on the end, they wear funny. Well, this one isn't worn at all. So that's a good indication that the thing really hasn't had a lot done to it. I don't even know if it turns over, to be quite honest with you. And I'm going to put oil in this clutch. There's a reason for that. Some people will say, oh my God, why would you do that? Well, they run in oil. There's a certain amount of oil that comes off of the chain, the bar oil, it comes off of there, and it goes in there. And you just kind of want it lubricated up. I can feel there's a spot that's a little bit funky. And I don't know if, is it locked up? I don't think it's going to be locked up. But let me kind of just squirt this stuff down in there. Freol works really good. I'm going to try and clean it up. You know, with years and years of sitting, I mean, this thing probably hasn't run since the 80s. You know, my uncle, I don't think he ever ran it after my grandfather passed away, and he died in 92. So, you know, I just don't see that. I don't see him doing anything, you know, with a chainsaw. So I'm just going to squirt these little nuts and bolts and things that need to be removed in order to get at it. Oh, well, before I do that, oh, she is free. It's not easy. Oh. Okay, so she's tight. Just tight. That has a weird cartridge to it. Let's see what I got here. That's weird. Nope. That's too big of a screwdriver. I gotta go find a different screwdriver. I have my screwdriver sets are in the tool truck, and the tool truck sits out here, but I can grab something from Grant. I know he's got a pretty good set of screwdrivers here someplace, and he does. Actually, I think that was, here we go. This is the one I want. You can't see what I'm doing, but you can hear me talking, so maybe you could say, we can't hear what you're saying. We can't see what you're doing, Mr. One Lonely Farmer. You don't know what the heck you're doing. You're making a terrible video. Oh, anyway. Yeah, I'm just talking to myself. It's kind of probably going to be a long-winded video. So right here, it looks to me like the pull cord has a little bit of a, it's a cartridge, so it'll come out of there in one piece. And it is so gummed up. Oh, there it goes. That one came loose. There's the other one. Cool. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to set the screws over here on that block of wood that I'm using as a tripod holder. Oh, this is pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool if this thing fires up. You know, like I said, it was my grandfather's, my grandfather's. And you can tell by the dogs on this thing. So this thing, it runs really nice. You can see that it's not worn from excessive pulling. It's just nothing. It looks like it's original. There's actually a gasket in there. That's a gasket. If it's not a gasket, it's a gasket. It's like a piece of Bakelite, a Bakelite gasket. So there's that. You can see in there the dogs, the little spring-loaded dogs. I'll see if I can make them work. Yeah, they just kind of flip in and out of the way. They're in good shape. A little squirt of oil on them so that they will go free. Like I said, this thing isn't running forever. That was too easy. Oh, that one's not going to work. That one's not coming loose. So, what do you do, One Lonely Farmer, when you can't get them things loose? Well, I'm going to show you in a second. There's always tricks to the trades, especially when you're messing with things like this that have been left for so long to, left for so long, neglected or or just not in use. You know, like I said, my grandfather, he's been dead since '92, and I actually bought some new. Punches. You don't want to use a real small punch, but you just take a punch and you set it on top. Now, don't go like freaking swinging away like Merrill, you know, just because you don't want to mushroom over. There it is, just like that. You don't want to mushroom over the slot to the what do you call it there? Yeah. Now I'm not going to take them completely out. I'm just going to loosen those up. I'm going to take these off. I'm not going to lie, these were loose. That wasn't good. All right. I had sprayed them down with the Freol already, but they were kind of loose, so weird. Now, I've had these saws apart before, but it's been 20 years already, or more, because I'm old. All right. All right, so now these are different. These ones here for this handle, they're a little different. Let me see if I can remove you here. Oh, again, another one of those difficult. What's it? This is a tack hammer, by the way, that I'm using. I bought this tack hammer to work on the Model A. Used it for the tacks and that, and of course, I can still use it for anything else I want to use it for. Oh my goodness! Sometimes it helps to actually turn it the other way, but that doesn't look like it's going to help me out any. So I got to go to plan something else. I'd say plan B, but I think I've already been there for that one. But this has to come up. Yeah, it has to come up. How am I going to get that up there? I'm going to have to take those off. Well, let me see. I got an Allen wrench set here. I don't know what size that is. These 031 AVs. I'm hoping that this one here is actually different than the ones that I had in the past, for starting, that is, because wouldn't it be great if my grandfather, so I will say though, oh my goodness gracious, is this a metric? No. Would they have used metric on this? It is a West German, it says West Germany on it. West German saw. Let me get a metric set, and we'll see where that brings us. What do I do with those? That metric? No. What with these? Wrong size. Why am I not finding my metric set? Somebody, for some reason, borrowed my metric set, and it has not made it back to its spot. Well, shoot. That's never a good thing. Yeah, all right. Let me go over to Grant's toolbox and we will see what he's got in here. Sorry about the delay. He actually set his toolbox up okay. The problem is I don't know what he does with his tools and where he puts them. Yeah, it's totally his deal. Has nothing to do with me. And I am not in the very... Oh, here we go. Huh. Maybe not. What the heck are these? Those are Torx wrenches? I don't see it. Shoot. Well, are they there? No. Yeah, it's funny, people love to pick on people for their toolboxes and stuff. Simply gum. That don't look like gum to me. Like some kind of a trap. Oh, where in the hell would he have put those? In the back there? Maybe, maybe not. Shoot. I don't know what he did with his things. Oh, they're not in here. No. Well, I guess I'm going to have to look over here in Tim's because he's got stuff that he steals from me and puts over here, and then I never see it again. Yeah. Oh well. Darn it. I'm not doing too good here. What the heck? All right. Well, let me... I was trying to be gentle on it. It feels a little loose, but I don't know if it is the wrong one or not. Is that the wrong one? It's got to be the wrong one. But I just don't know. Well, let's see if I can get it into this one. I'm sure it's a damn metric, and I don't have my metric ones here. I think they're in the tool truck. Oh, there goes that one. Half the battle. Let's see if we can get the other half. Yep, there it goes. Cool. Yay! You know what that means? Well, I'm going to tell you a story about the first 031 AV while I'm working on this one. So the first 031 AV chainsaw that I had belonged to my ex-wife's grandfather. I was cutting a lot of firewood, right? And he was kind enough to allow me to borrow his chainsaw. Like, okay, cool, thank you. You know, he's like, just bring it back. You can use it. Just take care of it. Bring it back when you're done. All right. So I had it for, I don't know, a couple of months. And I was a kid. I was 17 years old. And the reason I know I was 17 was because I was 17. I had my first pickup truck. It was new to me at the time, and that's how I paid for it, was with firewood. So what I did in my stupidity of my youth was I laid it on the ground and proceeded to accidentally run it over with pickup truck. That wasn't very good. It made me feel really bad for a couple of reasons. Reason one was I felt bad because it didn't belong to me, right? And when something doesn't belong to you and you accidentally run it over, naturally you should feel bad. This is the original airbox cover. So the air screen, it was just a screen in there, and it's not too dirty. I'm going to take the top of it off before I show you what it looks like. Before I get into it, I'm going to give this thing a major cleaning before we do that too. So I ran it over, and I didn't know what to do. And that was in 1989, 1990. So, say 35 years ago, 36 years ago, I started cutting firewood for money in 89 when I had got my first car. I got that in July. Oh my goodness, this thing does not want to move. Wow. There's that one. Sometimes a different screwdriver has a different grip to it. I can get it off. There it is. All right. So I didn't know what to do. I had run this thing over, and it had, I'll show you the part that it broke because it's right here in view. Right here where those screws for the handle go, it broke that. And I was devastated because I thought a lot of this, at that time, my girlfriend's grandfather. He's quite a hell of a guy. He was a World War II veteran. He flew in B-17s. He was a flight engineer. And, you know, it's funny. What did the flight engineer do? I think the flight engineer had many roles other than just being the flight engineer. But B-17s, B-24 Liberators, that's what he did. That was his detail there. Wow, what a pain in the ass. You know, when you don't know how to take something apart, it kind of, and it can't be too difficult because it's a pretty simple machine, right? And the carburetor is hooked to the handle, which is weird. Oh, found it. Way down in the back. Like, what the heck? Can't get the handle to come back, right? The throttle's stuck. Yeah, the throttle's stuck. Okay, that's not part of the throttle, so we should be pretty good. So anyway, that's what he did. He was a flight engineer, and he did not talk much about his service in the war. I mean, he did talk about it, but it was not very often, and the timing had to be just right if you were going to get him to say anything. So what I would do, if I wanted to hear his story, you couldn't just spring it on him. But of course I'm off subject now. But so let me stay on topic. Anyway, I had ran over. There's a little E-clip in there. That's what I just removed to take the throttle linkage off, which is really gummed up. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so I was really upset that I had run the thing over, and I didn't know how to tell him. So I got JB, I fixed it. Now, he looked at the saw when I returned it to him, and he said, "Did it work for you?" I said, "It did." I said, "It worked. It was hard to start." He said, "Yeah." He said, "I should have told you that when I lent it to you. The thing's a real pain. It's a pig to start," is what he said. I'll never forget it. A pig to start. He said, "I should have told you because you got to use starting fluid every time you start it." I was like, "Oh yeah, I figured that out." You know, and I did. I had figured it out. But I didn't fess up that I had ran it over. And I should have. Because I was a cowardly kid. I wasn't married to his granddaughter or anything. And she knew. My ex-wife, she knew that I had ran it over because she was there when I did it. And she didn't say, "Well, you better tell Pop-Pop." She didn't say anything. She was just like, "Oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?" You know. And, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, so years later, and I mean a bunch of years later, he died. It really wasn't a bunch of years later. He died in 2004. No, he died in 2005. His wife, Grandma, is what they called her. His wife, she died in 2004. He died nearly a year, like really close to a year after her. She had cancer, which was really sad. You know, they were good people. I really, you know, I miss them. You know, there's people you miss and people you're glad are gone. But those people, I miss those people. They're good people. They were fun to be around. They were, and here's the air box. That'll have to be completely cleaned, but we'll just kind of set it there out of the way. And then I can pull that back. Right? Oh, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Carburetor looks pretty good, though. Vaporizer, or whatever you want to call it. So, that's where that is, right? Holy smokes. I can't remember as to how these things were put together in there. I do want to take that completely off, the isolation mount. I think the rubbers are pretty well rotted. I don't know. There's the overflow for your fuel if you overflow it. Well, we've got that off now, so let's just go ahead and pull the fuel tank out, because I think if we do that, we'll be able to see what we got here, right? So the fuel tank is here, and it's all like, you know, this isn't plastic either. That's the one thing about these old saws. And what you have is the saws of today, even the professional ones, they're made of plastic. And when they're made of plastic like that, they just, I don't know. There's something about cast aluminum and milled billet aluminum and stuff like that that, to me, is just better, more better, right? Oh, I didn't know what that was at first. I thought it was part of the saw. So this is all aluminum, rubber, Bakelite. This thing's old. So what else is in here? Aha. Wouldn't you know? There's two more. So, yeah. I don't like that. And I can't see in there to see what is holding that whole carburetor system together. And in order to get that out of there, I'm gonna have to see, right? Huh. And these carburetors, you can adjust them. There's little venturis there that you can adjust, which is a good thing. You can set your idle here, which is nice. The spring in that is good. Just got dirt and stuff in it. So, yeah. Wow. That's actually turning more free now. Wow. So there's screws. You're not going to believe this, but there's screws all over this thing. And I'm probably going to regret taking that fuel tank off of there, because the what do you call it? The seal or the gasket that goes in there. Okay. What's down in here? Same thing? Maybe different. I don't think so. I don't know what those are. Good God. They're just bits and pieces all over this thing. And here's another one. I'm going to have somebody tell me, well, dummy, you should have probably cleaned it up so you could see everything. Oh, Lord. Well, this is exploratory surgery, right? Oh, there's another one. Holy smokes, I could have that whole engine apart, probably. I don't know that I want to do that. I think there's a... Personally... Oh. What is in there? Boy, what the heck is in there? I don't even know what's in there. I got to get my glasses on to see. So there's a rubber joint there, right? There's that. Let me just take this little carburetor out of there. I'm gonna have to get a small wrench. I'm gonna say it's like an 8mm. Yeah, here. There's a 9. I don't think it's a 10. It's too big for a 10. There's a 7, a 9, another 9, 7, 9. Well, let's find out. It's not a 10. It's definitely metric. Not the 9. Not the 7. Oh yeah, it's an 8. The one that I don't have, you know, the one that I don't seem to be able to find right now at the moment. That's a 7, that's a 7, that's a 7, that's a 9, it's a 5, no. What is that? No, that's a 9. Well, we can always hit it with a nut fucker, right? Oh, yeah, we can always hit it with a nut fucker. I got one of them. If you don't know what that is, well, maybe I shouldn't call it that. I'm gonna have to bleep that out. There's some young folks that are watching this channel for the first time and they just got bombed with a terminology. Shoot. All right. Let's see if I got a socket that size. I might have an 8mm socket. I didn't even think to use one of those, but no. Why in the heck do I not have what I need when I need it? Let's see, maybe quarter. Is that quarter? I'm just gonna have to see what I can find here. You know what? Got it. It's a 1/4 inch. It's not even a metric one. You know, somebody's probably gonna say this. Hey, dummy. Back then, the United States required standard wrenches for the foreign imports, which could very well be the case, right? Ooh. Nothing would surprise me more if that were the case. Is that definitely 1/4 inch? Oh my Lord. How many minutes I got on this? 34 minutes. You guys are in for a long video because I don't think I'm going to break it up. Well, I'm gonna have to break it up because I don't have hours and hours. I'm not Musty One. You know, he's a native New Jerseyite, New Jerseyan. Let's see, what do we got here? There she is. What the heck? Okay. That's a grommet there. And that is the issue, right? Come on, you little thing. There it is. Now here's a little carb. Very nice. Clean on the inside. No, I don't think there's any gunk in it. I'll blow it off with some air before too much there. And wow, so now we've got this problem. Right? You know what? You know what's weird? Is that hose, I think, is just fine. And the real reason I'm tearing this thing all apart is because of the hose. I thought the hose would be just total crap. But that hose is as pliable as it was the day it was new, so it must be some really quality neoprene. That's what I'm thinking it is, too. Because there's just, oh. To me, there's just no way that this thing is, wow. It's really good. Okay. All right. Yeah, all right. Why in the heck? Can't get that in there now. Now I got it apart, I can't get it back in. Is that rubber? That's some kind of rubber there too. Like an isolation rubber. Alright, hold on a second here. I'm gonna figure that one out. Just because. Yeah. I can't see too well, but I know get this. You want to know what the whole problem with this saw is? It isn't there. It's right here. The hose is missing from here to the top of the tank. So there's no need to tear anything more apart. The hose is bad. The upper hose, not the lower hose. So anyway, how the hell am I going to get that back in there? Yeah. Let me see if I can start forcing that in. You guys aren't being able to see what I'm doing, but there's a little grommet that goes through a little hole, and it was actually pulled through before I started messing with this thing. And I'm just now getting able. Yep, there it goes. All right. Nice. Okay, so well, that makes a lot of sense to me because, you know, now I don't know. I haven't tried to start the saw. What is that? Let me get a. What is that? I call this. Excuse my language, but I call this a nut fucker. And the reason I call it that, I know I said I'm going to quit using that type of language, and I'm trying my best, but sometimes, you know, you just can't. Sometimes you can't help yourself because you called something for so many years that, you know, you just kind of. But what a clean spark plug. Right? I mean, look at that. Just clean for, yeah, that's okay. All right. Maybe I'm going too far into this thing for no reason. Let me get some of this stuff and shoot down in there. Oh, yeah. Wow, it actually turns over super smooth. should be reed valves in this. All right. Super, super smooth. Well, that's okay. I'm just going to have to clean this thing up because, honestly, I think it's going to be a lot easier than I originally thought to get it to run. Other than it's going to need some general cleaning. It's just pretty mangy. I really wanted to take it all apart and, you know, like wire brush it and stuff, but I didn't do that. Let's see what the so there's a filter. There is a filter on the bottom of this bung to this fuel tank, and this fuel tank should just pop right up. This bung should just pop right up out of there, right? Oh yeah, there it is. So there it is. That's actually good. Yeah, I bit it. It's fine. It's not gummy. Wow. There's a little check valve in there for some reason. I don't know why, but that's in there. I'm gonna shoot. Oh wow! I thought there would be a bunch of crap down in there that was all like solid, but it's not. And the Freol will loosen that up. So what I'm gonna do, before I shut you off for tonight, because I'm just about done for tonight, I'm going to come back to it in the morning. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put this back in, obviously, like so. And it's really not hard. I'm going to soak the entire saw with this Freol because I want it to... There it is. Yeah, so that's... It went back in a hell of a lot easier than it came out. So now that's fine. That's good. So I know why it wasn't used, and it was because of this is the drawing side of it, where it goes into the bottom. It'll draw the fuel from the fuel comes in from the top here. I don't know what it's going to look like on the inside there, but whatever it is missing. You can see it's just missing the hose. I actually have a hose for it, but I don't want to go ahead and... I'm not going to put it back together a dirty old mess, but I am going to just put Freol all over the damn thing, because tonight, when I'm home sleeping, this stuff will be working, rejuvenating the dried up, crappy old oil that is all over this machine. Now, I won't be back here until tomorrow afternoon, which is fine. It don't matter. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm even going to hit that handle in there because it's all sorts of jammed up. That thing should be a pretty reasonable trigger. Yeah, that's the high idle. And it is gummy. So we'll just, some people say use Kroil or whatever. Freol, safer than Kroil. Kroil is actually a pretty bad stuff for your health. It's carcinogenic, terrible carcinogenic. As you can see, I'm just gonna oil the crap out of this carburetor or vaporizer or whatever you want to call it. We call it carburetors, you know, it's probably a vaporizer, who knows. My camera is now doused in oil. But what'll happen to that overnight is it will just start to, yep, it'll melt that stuff right off of there. And tomorrow, at some point tomorrow, this saw will actually look pretty decent because I coated it with this crap. You know, and maybe we can bring some life to the saw again and actually take it out and use it. You know, maybe a little memory of my grandfather. I never saw him use this saw, but it was his. Anyway, so that's that. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and you can look at my ugly mug. I'm going to shut this off. It's 44 minutes. I don't think I'm just going to run this raw. I might edit out some language, but yeah. I got injured tonight. There's some blood here. Right there. It dried up now, but not a problem at all. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for the next one.